it's about the benefits of cold plunge before you actually work out.
Really?
Yeah. Because there's a benefit after you work out in terms of reduction of inflammation. But what they're saying is you shouldn't do it right after you lift weights.
Got it.
Because then
muscles.
it actually decreases the hypertrophy. So you don't gain as much mass or gain as much strength. I've incorporated a new thing that I was telling you where I get up first thing in the morning, I get in the cold plunge. Because I was doing the cold plunge after I did the sauna. And it's a little easier because the sauna sucks.
Right.
But, when that 20 minutes is up or 25 minutes is up and then you get in that cold, the cold sucks, but it doesn't suck as much as when you're cold and then you get in the cold. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't dress warm.
Right.
I wear my fucking underwear and I go outside and it's 40 degrees this morning and I walk out and I lift the lid on that Morozko cold plunge and I see the fucking ice floating up in there. And every day I climb in.
That's brutal.
And I just get in there for 3 minutes in the morning and then I work out.
Joe Rogan recently talked about how he was testing a way to boost his testosterone naturally by taking ice baths before and not after a workout like many people had done. He followed the example of Dr. Thomas P. Seeger, who found out that by adding ice baths before his workout, his total testosterone jumped from 728 milliliters, which is very good, to 1,180 milliliters, which is almost unheard of in a 52-year-old.
I did a research and discovered a Japanese study from 1991 that showed the secret was exercising after your ice bath. It's the opposite of what everybody says to do, which is exactly how I got this far in the first place. He said, now I'm stuck with the T levels of an oversexed 19-year-old. I'm not complaining.
Damn.
But so this is the thing that people are realizing now. There's some extreme benefit to heavy duty. So here's it is. Extreme benefit to heavy duty cold exposure.
Right.
And then you force your body to heat up and then you work out. And he said the story I've heard about older men getting biopsies and prostatectomies sounded like nightmares to him, so he decided to try to manage his PSA with ketosis and ice baths. So it worked. His PSA dropped from over 7 to less than 1. And along the way, a funny thing happened to his testosterone. It went through the roof to 1140, which is crazy high. He said, my urologist didn't believe me. He thought I must be juicing. So he had my luteinizing hormones tested too. Sure enough, 8.9 is off the charts for a fat guy in his 50s.
When researchers did cold exposure before exercise, they observed a jump in testosterone and LH. When researchers subjected study participants to cold exposure after exercise, they noticed the usual drop in testosterone. When researchers studied the effect of cold exposure before exercise, they observed a jump in both luteinizing hormone and testosterone levels. Because he was doing my ice bath and then his workout, he had stumbled onto exactly the right regimen the Japanese study said should boost his T levels.
I'm trying that now, and I've only done it 3 days in a row.
Well, how's it working?
It's working. It's hard. But part of it is just the fact that you have to do it in the morning. Like, I'm not giving myself any mornings off. So that's how I start my day now. Whereas before, I was working out, so the workout, I ease myself into the workout, get on the bike, warm up, jump a little rope, start the kettlebell routine, do all the things you got to do. But now it's just right into the suck. So it's harder.
I tell you right now, man, the fucking cold, being in cold water, ice water, it literally is the one thing that makes you question everything. When you're going through hard training and shit like that, I've been through a lot of different training in the military, and that cold water, it definitely, many dreams die while suffering.
Nowadays, the topic of increasing testosterone levels has become quite popular, mainly because men tend to experience testosterone reduction as they age. This sex hormone is commonly present in males and in low amounts in females. Testosterone helps to boost muscle mass, body strength, bone mass, and regulate libido, among other benefits. As such, reduced levels of this hormone can cause reverse effects, including erectile dysfunction, increased fatigue, fragile bones, decreased strength, and increased body fat, among others.
Cold exposure can increase testosterone levels, but it doesn't happen by the cold directly. It's the vasoconstriction and then the vasodilation. As people warm up again, there's increased blood flow to the testicles. And in women, it seems there's probably increased blood flow to the reproductive organs as well after people warm back up. So that seems to cause some sort of hypernourishment of the Sertoli Leydig cells of the testes that lead to increased output of testosterone, and in women, testosterone as well.
Myth or no myth, the researches and studies have laid out in the open that cold showers do really have a positive impact on the levels of testosterone by escalating them up to a significant mark. It has also been proven that heat is harmful for testosterone. It lowers the weight of testicles and also negatively affect the spermatogenesis. Some studies propose that there may not be an instant effect and that it may appear with time. It is often recommended to take cold showers, wear loose boxers, and to sleep naked, just to keep things cool and under control down there. After all, proper functioning testosterone is essential for a man's health.
Anytime you cool a body surface, that if it's cold enough, you're going to get vasoconstriction, and then subsequently you're going to get a rebound increase in vasodilation, meaning you're going to constrict the blood vessels in that area, and then after the cold is removed, there's going to be more blood flow to that area. And of course, blood flow relates to organ health and tissue health generally, so perfusion of that region and those and the gonads, to be specific, with additional blood, you could imagine in some ways increasing testosterone. Works. I can imagine, based on what I know about the nervous system, testosterone and cold, etc., that there are a couple of mechanisms by which one might experience increases in testosterone as a consequence of deliberate cold exposure. One could, of course, take a cold shower. One could, of course, use cold immersion of various kinds, and you're still going to get that exposure of the groin and the testicles to cold. Now, I should point out that people do report, at least anecdotally, increases in testosterone as a consequence of this practice. And I have to imagine that they are measuring their serum testosterone, that they're not just guessing that their testosterone went up. That's reasonably plausible. The other probably more likely mechanism relates to the dopamine increases caused by cold exposure that we talked about earlier. Again, anytime you have a somewhat stressful stimulus, but in particular with cold exposure, it seems that the catecholamines, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine all increase. And dopamine is known to be in the pathway that can stimulate testosterone. And so while there isn't a direct relationship between dopamine stimulating testosterone, there is an interesting pathway whereby dopamine increases can trigger increases in things like luteinizing hormone, which can trigger increases in testosterone, as well as estrogen for that matter.
Testosterone is the main sex hormone in men. It helps fuel your sex drive, and it also helps your body build and maintain strong muscles. Testosterone levels tend to be highest when you're in your 20s, and they slowly start to drop in your early 30s. Research has shown that when you use cold water therapy, testosterone levels may rise. Low levels of these key sex hormones could translate to a lower sex drive and leave you wondering how to increase sexual energy, but increasing them could give your libido a boost. Studies have suggested that swimming in cold water could be a natural way to increase sex hormone levels.
So I know that there are a lot of people out there that are interested in the use of cold exposure for increasing testosterone, and some of those people and communities are indeed using cold exposure directly on the gonads, on the testes in order to do this. I'm not certain that that direct contact is necessary, and in some cases it might actually be quite dangerous, or you at least should be careful in terms of the tissues there and avoiding damage. But nonetheless, I think that a dopamine impact on testosterone is very likely, given the 250% increases in dopamine that have been observed with cold water immersion. And all of that points to the fact that cold water immersion very likely increases testosterone, but as a downstream consequence of the cold water immersion effects on dopamine and luteinizing hormone. And again, there's no reason to think that the increases in luteinizing hormone would also increase estrogen, probably not to dangerous or levels that one would want to avoid. But I don't think that there's anything particularly specific about cold for inducing testosterone and not other hormones. I think it's very likely to increases a number of different hormones.
Make sure to click the bell icon and subscribe to our channel. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel. Bye.